go, baby. Day 8 of reviewing every single Star Wars movie, and you know what that means? That means we are here at the first spin-off, non-Skywalker saga Star Wars movie that was created by Disney. Of course, I'm talking about Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Now, Rogue One was meant to be the start in what was going to become this sort of anthology series of Star Wars films that we would get every other year. A Star Wars film that was not directly connected to our main saga of films, not connected to the Skywalkers, and would go off and tell unique spin-off stories in the universe of Star Wars. Now, to this day, we only got 2 of them. We got this movie and we got the Han Solo movie, and we're probably going to get more eventually, but so far the plan hasn't really worked. But this first movie actually was a slam dunk hit, in my opinion. As you read by the title, this is my favorite thing that Disney has ever done with Star Wars. It is my favorite movie, TV show, whatever you want to call it. This is the best thing that I think Disney has done with the property since they've owned it. So what is Rogue One? Well, Rogue One is the story of this ragtag group of rebels that come together to steal the Death Star plans. That was the basic concept pitch of this movie. Remember in the original A New Hope, when they had the plans to the Death Star, they knew how to blow it up? Well, this is the film where we tell you how they got those plans. It's a very simple concept, if I'm going to be honest, and one that actually works extremely well and lends itself well to being a great film, because what you essentially have here is a heist movie in the veins of an Ocean 11 or something like that, a classic heist movie taking place in the Star Wars universe where you get this group of characters that are not these great Jedis or powerful heroes, but are just these people that are living in this galaxy that's ruled by the evil Empire, and they now have to come together, work together, and lead this rebellion to this common goal of stealing these plans just to give the rebellion a chance in the future. We follow Jyn Erso, who's played by Felicity Jones, who plays the daughter of the guy who built the Death Star, and the rebellion recruits her because they think she can get in contact with her father and maybe figure out the plans to this beast that way. Now, Jyn is a very kind of interesting character. She's this character that feels a lot of resentment for her father and the way things have gone in her life, but she still is this tough, strong, badass female lead, probably the best female lead that Disney has put up in recent memory, because she doesn't feel like a Mary Sue. Then you also have Diego Luna playing Cassian Andor, of course, a big enough and great enough character that he got his own show for some reason. But he's this hardened rebel, this guy who's willing to do just about anything for the rebellion, even if it means going to the darkest and like more evil places that you could possibly go, fighting a war. There's other great characters in this movie. It has a great cast. Riz Ahmed plays a very interesting rebel. Donnie Yen plays the blind, not Jedi, the guy that's always like, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. It's badass. He's a great character. Donnie Yen is just awesome. Ben Mendelsohn plays the villain, and I think it is the most underrated performance of his entire career. He is a guy that plays villains and everything, and this is my favorite villain that he's played. It is also the most underrated villain in the Star Wars universe. He plays this director in the Empire, this guy who is relatively powerful and is essentially the one responsible for building the Death Star. He's not the one that designed it, but he's the one that led the project, and he is Director Krennic. And he wants all the credit. He wants to rise through the Empire and get the credit he deserves for building this Death Star, and of course there's a lot of stuff that goes on with him kind of getting usurped as the person that gets credit for all of that. Grand Moff Tarkin comes in back from the grave, you know, literally and kind of metaphorically, and you have that great scene.
We stand here amidst my achievement, not yours!
I just think Ben Mendelsohn brings so much to this film, and he creates this character that's maybe not as much of a threat to our group, but he's kind of another insight into the Empire and how it works and what's going on in this ambition for power and this ambition that a lot of the characters in this film feel. You also get Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Jin's father, and he's another very interesting character. He's somebody who had built this evil, monstrous machine that is the Death Star that's going to cause genocide on planets around the galaxy, and he feels responsible for that, and it was something that was built out of his ambition for his own creativity, his own innovation, but it's something that's so terrible. And all these characters really make the movie what it is. These characters are super, super strong, and they lay on the backbones of what is a beautiful movie visually. Gareth Edwards, the director of this film, is one of those filmmakers who's just known for his visual style. He knows how to make something feel epic, and this film looks gorgeous. The action scenes feel so much better than a lot of the generic action scenes we get in these big CGI movies nowadays. They feel punchier. They feel like the characters are in more danger, and that's another thing this movie had going for it. Because these are not established characters, there's always this sense of any one of them can die at any moment, which brings so much more suspense and tension to each and every scene. But Gareth Edwards just knows how to film scale, and he does such a great job that this movie feels huge. It feels like a big event film. And then Darth Vader. I mean, yeah, is it the nostalgia bit of this movie? Is it the pull at your childhood memories bit of this movie? Yes. God damn it, I don't think there's any moment in the history of film that could really top me sitting in that theater in 2016 and seeing that hallway scene for the first time. unbelievable. It still lives up today. It aged perfectly well. But my god, 2016, what a moment that was in the theater. And not just that scene, but even the scene he has with director Krennic is beautiful. It's just Vader is handled so perfectly in this film. He's a badass and he's terrifying. I think this movie has a beautiful ending. I think the way they bleed it into A New Hope is very, very unique and interesting. It's something I had never really seen done before in a film where this is a spin-off, but this film actually kind of feels more like a direct prequel to A New Hope, because you can watch this movie and immediately watch A New Hope and it bleeds right into each other. It's very unique and very cool, although the Princess Leia CGI does not look... It doesn't look great, but that's okay. We can forgive that because, you know, it's like the least worst thing Disney has done to Star Wars in the last decade. But this is a movie that just start to finish ends up being really good. I think the only negative thing I would say about it is sometimes on rewatches, it does drag a little bit. Sometimes you feel that runtime a little bit more. There's not as much going on maybe in the middle part of this movie, but that whole finale and a lot of the early stuff in this movie is so good, and there's just so much to enjoy in this film. It is by far the best thing Disney has done with Star Wars, and I think it's the only one where they really let the people making the movie sort of make the movie they want to make, despite the fact that they made them rework the entire ending of this movie and they had to reshoot the whole thing, but whatever. But this is the one film that felt like Star Wars. It's the one film that kind of captures that feeling that you get watching the original 6 films, like including the prequels. It has that adventurous vibe, these characters that are flawed, that are deeply flawed, but are still rooted in humanity and have to rely on each other to achieve this one goal. It feels like a real story that was made to do more than to just sell toys and sell, you know, make them money. And that's why this movie was successful. It was a $1 billion movie. It did extremely well for a spin-off Star Wars story about the stealing of the Death Star plans. If this movie came out today, no matter how good it is, if it came out the same exact way, it would not do as well in theaters because of the damage that has been done, not just to the movie industry, but to the Star Wars brand, and that is a shame. But Rogue One is an incredible movie. I love it. I'm in love with this movie. It's one of my favorite things ever. And this is probably one of the more positive videos that I've made talking about Disney Star Wars. You're welcome, Disney. Check in a couple days for The Last Jedi review. I'm sure it'll be just as positive. I'll have plenty of nice things to say, I'm sure. But I will give Rogue One a 4.5 out of 5. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe for more. Tell me what you guys think of Rogue One down below. Turn on notifications to see everything that I post. I'll see you guys in the next one.